if you guys battled, the LL Cool J battles, or the, even going back and then MC Shan, or what the
Roxanne and
I'm sorry?
Roxanne beef and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay, I'm going to battle you, and if you won, then everybody cheered, you guys shared a hug, and you went back at it next week. It wasn't this, violent streak. And, the part of that is blamed in West Coast rap because, we went gangster with it. But the thing is people looked at it and said, okay, well, what you're portraying on your records, we've got to test that. And it just became something about being real and all of this kind of stuff. When, music is as real as you can get as far as expression, but at the same time, it's not something that people were ever supposed to fight and kill each other over.
Right.
It was supposed to make you feel good and express, what your situation was, and to help you get out of that situation, not drag everybody else into it.
Very true. All right. So
Sorry to get off on a tangent.
Yeah, it's all good. So because I told you I was going to just ask you random questions at any given time, here's one: is which recording artist has the best work ethic that you have worked with?
The best work ethic, that would be Nocturnal or Nate Dogg. Rest in peace. You talk about two people that just do not care about politics, or did not care about politics, and I could go on for days about Nate, but let's talk about Knock for a second. Knock is not only one of the realest people in the world, but he's also just, you cannot call Knock at any given time and him not be in the studio doing something. It's just few and far between that you will find him doing anything else than being in the studio. And his artistry is absolutely beautiful. And he's not one of those artists that doesn't want to work or is lazy or needs to take a break or anything like that. Music is his life, and that's what he does. And his work ethic is bananas.
I think people should have learned from Pac that the studio should have been a primary location, to go into a place, you clock in, and it's not a playground. It's not a place where you drink and smoke and bring the ladies or whatever. It's a place where you do your craft, and you should spend quality time there in order to succeed.
Well, like my grandma always says, there's a time and place for everything.
Right.
And that's that goes to what you're saying. If you're making party records and you need to have an environment of a party to make those records, then great, rock on with your best self and make sure you get the music done. But it's kind of turned into the glitz and the glam, and I'm going to be seen, and that usually halts any kind of work, and then the artist gets frustrated and leaves. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword, because then the studio can be so sterile. You're talking about records that were recorded in people's rooms or bedrooms or dorm rooms and all of those kind of things. Then they moved to a big business, so they moved them to big studios. Then it got sterile. Then it got, overly produced and all of those kind of things. It went from just being loops and those kind of things to big business, and it got twisted for a second, and now if you notice, it's reverting back to people's rooms and Pro Tools and plugins and all of those kind of things, to where people can do it at home again. And that's why there's such a flood of music, because now you have the internet and a way to get it out there, but at the same time it affects the quality. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like you want the quality of having a major label release and the push of a major label, but that kind of changes you as an artist and takes you away from what you really are. If you take an artist out of the hood who's been making great music in the hood and put him in a studio in Burbank, it's not going to be the same music. And give them a bunch of money, then and not to say that they don't deserve the money, but I'm saying that if you don't want people to change and people's music to change, then you've got to do it in a way where it's palatable to their artistry. And you can't be mad at them when you change their environment. It's like we were talking about Eminem the other day, or 50 Cent, or any of these guys. It's like, you're going to ask him about rapping about struggle? You want him to talk about his mom and all of this kind of stuff still? he was in a struggle back then. He was living off of 8 Mile. I mean, he was hungry, wanted to get out, and now he's comfortable and can eat whenever he wants, and you know, is sober and has a family and a big house and all of these things. So you want him to rap about coke and killing his mom?
Right.
He's happy. He's not angry anymore. Like,
so
he's not dodging bullets. He doesn't have to wear a vest at shows anymore. He's outgrown that.
right.
So you want him to talk that gangster stuff, but that's not him anymore. But then you want to say something crazy about him as an artist, but he's evolved, and I mean, and that's not loyalty as a fan. I mean, you know, and that's the thing that kills me a lot of times is loyalties switch so fast in music. It's like, you know, I love you one second, I hate you the next, and that's what's really hard to deal with artists. And you know, a big problem with the music business has always been substance abuse and those kind of things, but people really don't see what artists go through, and it's the worst thing in the world as an artist or a producer or those kind of things, because when they say that they love you one second and hate you the next, they mean that. And those extreme highs and those extreme lows messes with your equilibrium. So it's like, wait a minute, I'm doing the same thing that I've always done. You like me right now, but what did I do different 2 minutes ago?
Right.
And it's like, wait, everybody hates me right now? Well, what did I do to you? I mean, there's so many variables to it. It's like an artist can only do what their part is, which is write or read what somebody else wrote and spit it, or sing it, or, you know, do those kind of things. But when all the other things change around them, you get a new label, or one of these labels merge, and then you're on a different label, and then they have a different idea of the direction, and you don't have control over everything, not every last thing, especially if you're a new artist. So how they market you, or their artwork, or those kind of things, I mean, you can't control. So if some cheesy artwork comes out, and it's not really what you want to go with, it could ruin your career. But at the same time, it's like, what do I do? Do I turn down the check, or get dropped from the label, and then no one sees me?
Right. I think
it's so hard.
The Snoop Dogg situation is a good example about how he went from the Row, of course, and then No Limit, and then, you know, so I think that would be a good example of how his sound can completely change 1 minute and then lose fans, you know, for a minute.
Well, I mean, you go from Deep Cover to the Pharrell records, and you look at the contrast in it. But, you know, you can't be mad at him because he's just evolving as an artist.
Right.
I mean, those were the situations at the time, you know, and the whole thing about bettering yourself, and I mean, Snoop Dogg is a perfect example of the commercialization of hip hop and what you have to do to evolve within the business. And you have to give Snoop his credit because he's evolved into an icon and a legend based on the evolution of relevancy in current times. You know, I mean, he's the only person that can sit there and smoke weed on a freaking stage with Donald Trump sitting next to him.
Right.
I mean, you got to give him his credit for that.
Right.
He's a legend, but at the same time, you don't have to. If you're a hardcore fan of what he was doing with Death Row, then I mean, you got to listen to that catalog, and it's just it's sad because people won't revert to that or try to find those records. Or back in the day, you know, we used to like network and, hey, do you have this tape? Oh, well, I'll slide you this tape. You slide. I mean, it was like trading cards. You know, and I was talking to one guy who has an extensive collection of just about everything that was ever made, and I'm just like, how did you get this stuff? And he's like, well, I networked with everybody. He did the same thing I did. I went and found out who was the engineer who did Ricochet, you know, by Ice-T, was Check the Terrorist. Okay, what else do you have? Okay, what else did you do? Was this done on a Lindrum or was this done on an 808? You know, like, how did you do this? Who was the one to push the buttons? What did you run through? That kind of stuff.
Right.
And that's what they did. But fans don't do that anymore. It's the generation of instant gratification. It's like, if I can't do it in 2 clicks, I'm not going to do it. And not just that, but if I have to pay for it, oh, really, I'm not going to do it. So it's like, and it really messes up the artist at the end of the day, because here we are, and as artists and producers and people that try to empower the music, but no one's really empowering us. They're all just trying to exploit us and take money out of our pocket. And that's why it's like, to me, it's frustrating a lot of times because it's like, artists can't win. It's like we make our stuff and the most we can do is put it on TuneCore.
Right.
And promote through our Facebook page, and hopefully somebody supports it and books us for some shows because we're not going to make them do records.